Welcome to You Know Something with Dena
Hey, look, I'm just here to entertain, inform, and keep this crazy train on track.
and Tia.
Me, I'm like your live wire that is liable to like go shalom.
They're like your cool aunts.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Fun.
I can't believe you even brought that up. That is so fun.
Informative.
It's impossible to dust potpourri.
You can't.
Sometimes serious.
Dena, sweet child. I am almost stunned. I mean, I'm being really serious.
But most of the time, not so much.
A caca. I mean, your caca and your caca. No. I'm sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Ladies,
Hello, welcome to You Know Something with Dena and Tia. This is Dena, and I want to welcome you guys back. We have been gone since before Thanksgiving, and we were supposed to come back in January, but we're a little tardy. And that laugh you hear is my friend and Tia's friend. She's our mutual friend, DiAnna. And DiAnna, I'm so happy to have you here with me today. We're so excited.
Thank you, Dena, for having me. This opportunity is just amazing, and I'm super excited to be here. And I want Miss Tia to know that anytime that she's ready to come back, I'm just sitting in for that wonderful girl until she's ready. So, guys, you're going to have to listen to me for a little while.
You're keeping her seat warm, huh?
I'm keeping her seat warm. There you go.
Well, I just want to say Tia, she's on a little sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went on a break for the holidays to really just embrace and enjoy the holidays, because a podcast takes an hour to listen to, but it takes hours to record, produce, edit, all that. So
Sure.
It does take up your week, and we did 2 episodes. So she was like, Dena, I've got a to-do list for me, you know, to do
Right.
for me and to do for my home. She inherited a lot of her mother's things that were stored with her stepfather. You know, he kept them when Tia's mother passed years ago,
Sure.
way too young. And her stepfather lived in the condo that her mother owned. And then he needed to move out to have some assistance with his living recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so there you have boxes in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
She's going through them. And I don't know if you know, I mean, I know you know, when you start going through boxes of memories.
Absolutely. That takes you down a different path and a very emotional path. And I've had to do that recently with both my mom and dad have passed away within the last 4 years. And so that emotional memory lane that you go down as you go through these boxes that Tia is going through, she is experiencing everything from her childhood through grade school, then into high school and on into life. And as we look back through and we are where we are today, it's fun to look back at our life, but it's also a very emotionally draining process. Mm-hmm. And I give Tia all the credence in the world for being able to step up and say, stop, I need some time for me. I need a sabbatical. I need to focus on me and sort some things out. And so I'm super proud of her for doing that. And I think that we live in a very busy world. And I believe that every single one of us have to give ourselves the respect when we're feeling like everything is crazy and chaotic. And we just need to be still. And we need to get centered and focused on where we're at in life and then what's our next step. So that's just the growth process of living. And I applaud women, of course. That's what I love to do, is uplift women and give them their confidence back and get their kind of, genre back that they live by, and everybody needs a break. So Tia, this is to you, girl. So proud of you. I love you. And Dena and I are eternally here for you.
Absolutely. That was beautiful, Diane. I think I could not have said it anywhere close to that. So we are thinking of you, too, and we hope you're listening. And the show, we'll dedicate the show to you. How about that?
Hey, I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
So now that I do have Diana here, I think we need to talk about you, how we met, what you're all about, so that as we proceed forward, if I can convince you to come back for other episodes, we'll see after today. People know where you're coming from. Of course, they're going to learn more about you every episode, just like they do Tia and I. And Tia and I learn about each other every episode, and you and I learn more about each other, too.
That's true.
It's very cool. So I met Diana. I was going through a divorce, and I'm going to say that was 2012, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible. Mm-hmm. I felt not like myself. I felt like I was starting from scratch. I felt old. I felt ugly, only because stress, the stress of a divorce. Mm-hmm. I looked up, does stress make you older? Does it age you? And it really can. And I'm telling you something. By the way, let me start by saying DiAnna is a registered nurse, is years and years and years of experience, and we'll get into more of that. So I'm like telling her about a medical thing, which is kind of funny. But I did Google it, and your telomeres will crack and break and shorten.
That's correct.
And that's what determines your life, really.
I'm so proud of you for that.
Thank you.
That's pretty impressive.
And your cell regeneration, if you're regenerating cells when you're in a state of like cortisol release and stress,
Trauma.
those aren't going to be good cells. They're going to
Correct.
be unhealthy cells. And I think even cancer. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I play one on a podcast. I don't even play one on a podcast. But I really feel like that can create cancer stress.
Sure.
Certain kinds of cancer.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like looking in the mirror and thinking, how did this happen overnight? I woke up and I just went to bed one night, woke up and like...
You woke up and everything had fallen?
Absolutely. Like little aging elves had just been hammering all over my face. My cheeks were sunken, my jowls were hanging.
Those guys came.
Yes.
Those guys, I don't like those guys.
Just minding your own business. It's supposed to be beauty sleep. But so I thought, oh my gosh, who are you? I thought, well, this is your life now. You're older.
Right.
You went through, this is what you're going to see when you look in the mirror. Just learn to live with it, girl. And if you can, I applaud you for that. If you're happy with what you see back.
That's right.
I was not. And I happened to come across, it came through my email, a Groupon, the dreaded Groupon, for Botox, which that word scared me. I didn't know anything about it. But I thought something told me, take this Groupon and do it. Do it for yourself. It was a great deal. Otherwise, I could never afford it.
Sure.
You're starting fresh. This represents a fresh start.
Yeah.
So it happened to be at the place where you were working. What do you call it? You call it a anti-aging spa or salon? What do you call it?
It's more just a general term of anti-aging. And I do remember Dena the very first day walking in. She had deer in the headlights kind of looking at me, and I'm trying to explain to her about some Botox, and I can tell she's listening, but I can also feel her anxiety. It's almost palpable in the room. And so, but that being said, we discussed how the aging process naturally works and how we combat that as we age. But then when you add stressors onto our life, it does do internal cellular damage, which is going to be represented on the outside as we are what we are on the inside, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Meaning what we eat, and if we take good care of ourselves, then that is reflective of our body and how we look. So I'm trying to encourage Dena, who is sitting in this little chair, that a few little Botox needles in her forehead will not be the end of the world.
Yeah.
You are going to survive this. There are millions of women who do this every year, and they love it. There's a reason why millions of women do it every year.
Yeah.
So that being said, we got to know each other through the anti-aging, and we got through the Botox session, and she did great with it, and she loved her results. And I check up on my people, and so when I checked up on her, I could tell a little bit of a difference in just how she was talking about herself. And so the next time that she came in, we talked about doing There's other things in anti-aging other than just, toxins, which is Botox, you can do for your face. And so we've got to address skin issues and how the skin ages as well. So she has learned a plethora of different things through coming to me for all these years. And so that's why she plays a doctor on the podcast, because she thinks she is one. And she could be my sidekick for sure, because she's done just about everything that we offer in our anti-aging place. I have a place, it's DiAnna's Touch of Beauty, and so that is where I currently work. And also I am a pediatric nurse of 32 years. I worked at Children's Hospital. So when I was talking to Dena when she first came into the salon, I said, I pretty much know my way around a needle. If I've worked at a pediatric place and in a neonatal intensive care unit and I can stick little babies, I think you're going to be fine with me.
I was a little baby.
She was a little baby. And I have this silly thing that I've just learned it over the years that I do because I work with kids for so long. I pinch your little skin and I go, okay, 1, 2, 3, little out. And I do that every time. And so that just helps to bring the baby out more, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it did help her get through the session, and she has come so far. And I just have to say I'm so proud of her for this podcast and the message that she is wanting to, her and Tia both are wanting to portray out into the world. And that is a message of hope. That is also a message of faith. And that is a message of being open and transparent and recognizing that we all have days where we look in the mirror and we feel ugly and we don't see the beauty in us. Maybe that's something that you can kind of recognize within yourself. Maybe you don't see the beauty within you. And we all need help sometimes finding the source of what we see as beautiful within ourselves. And the most wonderful thing is watching a woman come in, and a lot have been through divorces, or a lot have been through a lot of financial hardships. And so we talk and we get relationships, and I love seeing them grow and produce their own happy. We think that other people can make us happy, like your divorce. You're not married anymore, so now you have nobody to make you happy. That is such crap, because you find your own happy. Mm-hmm. And then you let everybody else live in your world, but you keep your happy no matter what happens. And it's hard some days. I don't always keep my happy, but I have my patients who remind me that they see the beauty in me and that I need to as well.
Absolutely. Well, my impression of you was, I knew what I was going to do. I went in, it was a beautiful place. You were working there at the time. It wasn't your own. You own your own place now. Mm-hmm. And I was impressed. It was very pleasant, nice, but I expected to go in, have a nurse inject me, say thank you very much, and then I go out, I pay, and I leave. The experience was so different, and I'm only saying this so that you guys can learn who DiAnna is. This is not a show about medical procedures, although we are at the end. We'll get into advice for you guys if you've wanted to dip your toe into any kind of anti-aging. We'll just go real quickly through DiAnna about what each issue you may have when you look in the mirror that makes you unhappy.
Sure.
She can suggest what you could go to your doctor and ask, or your local
absolutely
anti-aging salon.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to say about my experience with DiAnna was, you were like an angel on earth.
Mm-hmm.
We are both believers, and I know you're not an angel.
No.
People don't turn into angels when they die. There are angels and there are people. But an angel on earth, in that you were very sensitive to my fears. You were very empathetic. And when I left, I thought, I want her to be my friend. And I thought, well, maybe you feel that way because you're vulnerable, you're scared, and this is something scary that you're doing. She's sticking needles in your face, so maybe you're feeling this
need to be a friend.
Yes, exactly.
Although I really do want the person who's injecting me to be my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't remember. Our friendship grew from there. You know, I would come once. Oh my goodness, maybe once every 6 weeks or something else. We started doing fillers for my lips and
Right.
all kinds of things. Like you say, just about anything that I'm like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
But how do you feel? I mean, you have a very special relationship with all of your clients,
I do.
patients. But why do you think we clicked? What is it? You know how you look at somebody and you start talking and you think, that's one of my people. That's one of my people.
I think that's a great question to explore. The connection or the bond that you feel sometimes just clicks and it's right. And I don't know that there's a formula for that. I believe that it's the way that two people interact and are vulnerable together. What I did for you when you came in was I just bridged the gap for you between where you are and then where you saw yourself wanting to be. And that I was the difference maker of just the catalyst to give you just a spark. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that spark in you, I saw you come back to life. And I'm not meaning that literally. It's just you were happy and you were out doing Dena things. And, every time that you came in, I looked forward to you coming through the door and I enjoyed your company. We never had a moment where we weren't either talking, laughing, or crying that I recall.
I think the owner of the salon was like pecking on the door. Are you finished yet?
Correct. Yes. Are you done in there? Because we got 60 more out here. Y'all have been taking too long. So I just tell you, when I meet people, and there are some that you're going to bond with, and I will say, when you find that special person or people, gravitate towards them more often than not and keep them close in proximity. It don't mean that you have to be together every day. Doesn't even mean that you have to talk or text every day. Dena and I have the relationship that honestly, if I didn't see her for a year, we would pick up right where we left off. Mm-hmm. And there would be nothing between us. There's not even a grain of sand between us because you and I both give each other the respect to feel the way we feel about different issues. Mm-hmm. But we have learned to grow when you allow yourself to hear another perspective and you respect that person and you have a bond with that person. I feel like that grows you into really being a better person out into the world, because if you're so stuck in your own little world and you don't allow relationships like you and I have, I would have missed out on so much with you through the years because, again, tears, laughter, fun, and we've gone through deaths, we've gone through divorces. As podcasts come through, I'll share my testimony, in some of those coming up later. But Dena has been with me through everything, and I've been with her through everything. So I don't really know why that we clicked, other than I do believe people are, to answer your question, I believe we are put in the right place at the right time to make a difference in the world.
I agree with everything you said. Yeah, and like you say, well, it's a long story and a lot to talk about. But you were going through your own issues that you hide very well. You were working 2 jobs. You were working night shift at the hospital.
Yeah, I did. I worked night shift 12 hours at the hospital there for 32 years, and I've been in aesthetics now for 16 years. So I did both for a lot of years. I actually retired from the hospital 2 years ago and focused more on DiAnna's Touch of Beauty, and then also I really enjoy being a wife. That is my most favorite thing that I do, and that is, I'm a nurse. That is not, it's what I do. It is not who I am.
Right.
And a lot of times even myself, I didn't realize that until my husband, said, baby, yeah, you're a nurse, but you're so much more than that. And we confine ourselves so much to what we do, but really our work is not who we are. And so being a wife for my husband is the best thing in the world that has ever happened to me. So I've done a little bit of everything, but I'm beginning at this age in my life to start slowing down a little bit and recognizing the people that I want to spend time with, and recognizing that half of my life is over, and so the decisions that I make today are going to eventually impact my future. And I want people to surround me that uplift me, that help to educate and grow me, help to give me a different perspective on things that are happening in the world. So I love where I'm at right now, and I love my life. I'm in a great place, and I'm sitting here doing a podcast with you. I mean, how hard can life be?
Pretty good. Doesn't get any better than that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, you're right. At a certain age, time becomes the most precious thing you have.
That's right.
And you think, why am I doing this? This is not making me happy. Some things we have to do. We have to be
Correct.
responsible.
Right.
That we're not happy when we're doing those things. But in general, when you have an option, why do you waste time on things, people, situations, activities that don't make you joyful? I mean, you don't have to. I think you get in a habit of people pleasing and doing things because you're supposed to.
And women really are people pleasers. We suck into that little vortex, and it is very hard to get out and see that, hey, I don't enjoy this. But then it takes courage to recognize that, make that decision, and then carry through with that decision to cut the people off that basically suck you dry.
Yeah.
We're all a sponge. And I have, that last little drip sometimes on the sponge is just all it takes. And when you are done with the situation, I would encourage everybody that when you know that you're done with something, whatever it might be, make that decision and then move forward to what your goal is. Because don't look in your rearview mirror. You're not back there anymore. Look forward, and that's the only way that we can progress and be who we want to be in this life. And yes, time as we age is the most precious thing that we have.
Yeah. So you started out as a nurse, I would assume right out of high school. You went to...
I went to Jefferson County High School, then I went to Carson Newman College there in Jefferson City, Tennessee, and then I actually started work at Children's Hospital 2 years before I was an RN. I was an assistant.
Oh,
Yeah,
So, I mean, I can guess what would attract you to working with children. You love children. But I would imagine that was very, very difficult to see. You don't like to see a child sick. You want to help them, but it just doesn't seem natural to see a child with
That's
cancer
right.
or loss
Oh,
of hair or
absolutely.
not feeling just energetic and playing. So how did you cope? What got you through those tough times? Just briefly, because we can get into more details as we do more podcasts, but I'm trying to do a chronology on how you got into aesthetics. So
I understand. Wow. Yeah, I've worked with everything, and I believe that God allows us to complete the work that He places us in. And I knew from a child that I wanted to be a nurse. On Christmases, I would get those little stethoscopes and, the little needle things and the blood pressure things, and I drove my family crazy. They were all the healthiest of any family around. But anyway, I've known
from an early age.
Oh, I knew. Yeah, I've never wavered from wanting to be a nurse. I have always wanted to help people in whatever capacity I can. So I chose, to be a nurse and go through with that, and I've never regretted that a day in my life. I will tell you a funny story that one way I knew that I needed to do pediatrics. For my psych rotation, they put me in a room with a man that had done really horrible things, and I was locked in there with him, and he began to get on a little bit of a tangent and a raid, and so I thought, this is not for me. And then I went to do our geriatrics, and I have so much respect for people who do both psych and who do the older community for their care. But I knew that when I had a gentleman grab my behind and squeeze it, that was not going to be my life.
Didn't I do that when you were injecting me with
Yes, you did. You grabbed my booty. And I'm like, Dena? You're like, I'm sorry, it's the first thing I touched. I'm like, well, touch something else.
I needed to squeeze something. I said, I'll bring a stuffed animal next time. That was just a little bit of something. It was a little painful. That was the devil's wand up.
Hey, and people, don't doubt that I had one of those squeezy balls for each one of her hands, so she didn't grab me anymore.
Okay, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No.
So you went to the geriatrics.
Yeah, and so that just wasn't for me. Yeah, again, I love old people. I have respect for people who have psychiatric issues. But that, my heart was when I did a rotation at Children's, I talked to the nurse manager and I said, I want to work here. And so that's actually how I did really well. And that's how I got my job through Ron Phillips Children's Hospital. Is an amazing man. And he gave me an opportunity. He saw, back to what we said, he saw not the beauty in me, he saw the potential in me. He saw the heart that I had when I was with a parent or with, how I was with the patient. And he had a belief in me that I could be really, really good. And again, back to the people pleaser thing, when somebody really believes in me, I'm all in about, pleasing, as long as it's obviously for the right reason. But that was the right reason, and I poured my entire self into work, and I have never, ever regretted the tears that I've shed with the patients and their families. And I don't want to get teary-eyed on you, but I can't tell you the enormous amount of experiences that I've had that have had big impact on how I view life and how I view death. It was my job as I was eventually worked my way up to ICU, and then I was nurse coordinator, and then it was my responsibility to, carry the body to the morgue after someone passed. So I have had a lot of emotional experiences, and I don't regret one day of helping a child have one more day that was hopefully good for them, because we had these little cars, and you actually get in them and you drive them, and so we would get in with the kids and we'd run down the hallways. And on Christmases I would always put in, I don't have kids, so I always worked the holidays, and I got to be Santa. Yeah, so we would do age-appropriate gifts, and so they would have them all labeled. It was a big ordeal, and for the whole hospital, it's a 5-story hospital, and so for every child and every little baby that was in the NICU, we had a child-appropriate toy for them. So I got to leave all of the presents, and that was, I would dress up like Santa.
Let me hear your ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho.
I don't know. We could pass for Mrs. Claus.
Okay. Yeah, that's Mrs. Claus. Ho, ho, ho.
There you go. We were the prettiest Santa they'd ever seen, I'm sure.
We're all impacted by things that have happened in our life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we can choose to either let that impact, destroy us, or we can, yes, get up off the floor, because after you've had trauma, whether it be a divorce or a child sick or your own illness, you are pretty much on the floor. Mm-hmm. And the only way you got to go is up.
There you go.
So put your bootstraps on, pull yourself up, surround yourself with people that are positive and influential as to your goal and cares about you as a person. And it has helped shape me as to who I am today.
Yeah.
That experience at the hospital.
Our experiences are who we are, good and bad.
Yeah.
Ones we chose or ones that just happened to us.
Honestly, Dena, to answer your question full circle, how I got through a lot of that was day by day. God's grace is good for every single day. Now, sometimes I use that up by 12 midnight because I worked 7p to 7a. Right. So I'm like, for the rest of the 8 hours, okay, Lord, I'm tapping into your grace for the next day or your strength for the next day. But, what other choice do we really have?
Yeah, I think that's true for any life. It's one day at a time.
Amen.
It's obviously important to plan for your future and not be irresponsible, but you can only deal with what's in front of you at that moment. We spend time about worrying about what's next.
That's correct.
Just waste your time.
We're going to have fun when.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah. I'm going to have fun when my kids graduate college.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to have fun when I retire. Why don't we have fun today?
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment. And that's another thing that has really, my husband and I have got into hot yoga for the last 4 years, and learning to center yourself and learning to block out everything else other than just your own breath, and to just let your mind truly relax and just be. Silence and stillness is sometimes where I have found most of my answers to things that have, come up through my life. So yoga has, I feel like, grounded me, and I like it. I like hot yoga. Have you ever been?
No, I haven't. I've been to yoga, but the hot part, no. But I like to be hot. I don't like to be cold. Cold yoga, I could not do.
You do have to get used to it, but now if you want to detox and you want to be totally wet from head to toe, I encourage you to do a hot yoga. Yeah, I'm not sure how I got off on that.
That's
Sorry.
okay. No, that's fine. So how do you go from being what some would describe as sacrificing, being an angel for those kids and seeing such, suffering and sadness, and with little kids, to go from that, which is, you should be lifted up for that, to more, let's say, aesthetics, more the superficial, or one might even say vanity type situation. What was it, just like it was money, financial, or was it a passion, or?
Honestly, I just had an opportunity to go work for a company that needed an injection nurse. I knew nothing about it. Actually, somebody at the hospital told me that they were looking for an injector, and I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. But they said you're very detail oriented, which I am, and so I went and checked it out. I went and had an interview, and they hired me, and so I actually spent a whole year under this physician. He taught me, way back when we only had Botox and Juvederm. Those were the only two products.
Which is a filler.
Yeah, Juvederm is a filler, correct. So, y'all are going to laugh at this. He had me work for him over just a little bit over a year. And I never injected anybody. He taught me that entire time. And the very first...
Wow.
Yeah. At a year, he said, I think we're good. I mean, I did other stuff in the office, but I did not do the facial injections. Mm-hmm. And so he was my first patient, He
Wow.
said, "You have to do me first." And he was like, "You've been watching. I'm trusting you with my face." And I was a nervous wreck. I was trying to hold the needle still.
You're trembling.
I was trembling. And it's like, this is not going to end well if you don't get yourself under control. And so I manned up and womaned up, whatever you want to call it, took a big deep breath and got myself under control. And I administered his Botox, and then I administered his Juvederm. And he said, "Wow, they are going to be so happy that I am retiring from this, and you're the new injector."
Oh my goodness! You're like,
He checked me off with 100%, and I've been injecting ever since. And goodness, the hospital, leaving that was one of the most difficult decisions of my life, because it was, again, such a habit, a routine, and such a part of me, that I finally had to, with my health and then just getting older, working 12-hour night shifts and then trying to do a day job for injecting and grow a business. I was forced to, my husband said, "You have to make a decision. You have to choose. This is, I'm watching both of these jobs absolutely kill you." So I prayed, and I just had to put a period at the end of the hospital. And I do miss that. But I've been able to spend more time at DiAnna's. That means more time with my patients, and that's what I love the most is, they come here for injections, but they come here so we can talk and learn from each other and grow with each other. And yes, it is a very special relationship that I have with each and every one of my wonderful patients. And I am the lucky one to be with them. And I'm just so honored that people respect me and see the way that I nurse and the way that I take care of my people, because that's extremely important to me. And I call myself a mother hen sometimes in a text message when I'm checking up on people. But that's a specialty that I feel has been lost through the years of the getting busy, and people forget to check on and people, and sometimes we forget where we came from. And what I mean by that is when we've grown a business and people have been with us for a long time, don't forget to look back and remember where you started, because that is those are the people that are your core.
exactly.
And I love what I do every single day. Every once in a while everybody is different, and for the most part, I don't have anybody that I can't get along with. I mean, even if we agree to disagree, I respect somebody else's opinion. And, I've seen enough and learned enough that you can't push yourself off on other people. You can only give of yourself and be there. And the biggest part, though, is just being yourself all the time. And that is one thing that I feel like I have always been me. I don't really even know who to be other than me.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people, change faces a lot of times based on who they're with. And I do think that that's one thing I'm good at. I'm the same all the time. And you know exactly who I am and what you're going to get when you're with me.
Yeah, I would describe you that way. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about DiAnna. There's so much more to learn that we'll learn over future episodes. But let's get into, and we want to, before we start, we're not recommending that you do any of these procedures. Always check with your doctor.
Right.
Always research your injector.
Absolutely.
Because, it can go wrong. It's just facts. Any procedure can go wrong. So look for references. I think if you could go to someone who is somebody you trust, who has been going to, a friend who has been going to an injector, who can vouch for that person, a referral.
Absolutely.
Not always the cheapest price, the greatest deal. I got lucky with my Groupon, but not everyone will. So this is just DiAnna's opinion
That's right.
and her experiences. Yeah, we want to say first, diet, exercise, sleep. Get that in check before you
Absolutely.
start any of this other stuff. Easier said than done. I could take my own advice. We can't always sleep as much as we want. We're in a hurry. We don't eat what we know we should. But that is going to make a big difference. You'd love for somebody to come in with that baseline before you ever start.
That's correct.
Okay, so let's just start at the hairline down to your cleavage. All right, forehead, and this was one of the things I noticed first. Forehead furrows, I guess you call them, horizontal lines on the forehead. What's the best procedure for that?
Okay, so those what you need is toxins. There are 4 that are out there that we use and that are obviously FDA approved. Always have that type of product. That helps to relax those muscles so we don't make those expressions that cause those lines. Again, you don't have to use as much as people use on TV, because if you'll look a lot of times on TV, the only thing moving are their lips and their eyelashes. I go for a little bit more conservative approach, and I feel like a little bit goes a long way, and we do a little bit to relax those muscles. Where I'm going is you don't have to do so much that it totally knocks out your expression.
Right.
I still like, if I'm mad at you, I want you to know it.
All right, there you go. Yeah, people can overdo it.
So yeah, toxins are for crow's feet, which, are
Yeah.
those around the eye, those little snickerdoodle things around our
Okay.
eye that are not good. Obviously, there's different places that you can use that as well.
Yeah. So our eyes, the crow's feet, we noticed first, I think, too. So
This would be
the one I know is Botox, but there are other brands that,
Sure.
that
Yeah.
you can do. Now, I know it depends on where you live in the country. Prices vary. We're in the southeast.
Right.
But if someone had $500 to spend, could they get their forehead toxin in their forehead, you think, in crow's feet? Or would that, depending on where you are?
I can't speak for everybody else, but as for me, yes, you can do that for your forehead.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'm just
absolutely.
wondering about someone who's never, or is afraid, like, is this going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars? But I think you can make a big difference with
Right.
that
just,
amount.
Just Botox.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
You can. Sure.
Okay. All right. Then what about droopy eyelids? Is that strictly going to be a surgery thing?
Again, we have to look at that, how far it comes down, covering, if the pupil is a little bit covered or your eyesight to the side is a little bit less, you may qualify for surgery, which insurance, of course. But the way we do Botox can cause a lift
Yeah.
in the eyebrows and the eyes, just to make you look a little brighter, a little bit more awake, and that's always a nice, refreshing look for a female.
It's a good place to start. Yeah, it's interesting because when I got the Botox, I thought, okay, it's going to help me with when I raise my eyebrows, I won't make permanent lines in my forehead. But then I noticed my eyes were lifted too. I thought, that's weird. How you would think it would make it droop because there's no you're numbing the muscle, therefore you can't lift your forehead. But why does it make your eyes? It's amazing the difference that
And
just a little
another-
Botox will make.
Botox is wonderful. We also have a different product. It's an eye drop that will lift the eye as well, and it whitens and brightens the entire eye. So we really do like that. It's Upneek is what it's called. Upneek.
I'll
And-
include links to all this. Yeah, Nick, I'm glad you mentioned that because it's just a drop you do to yourself if you're scared of needles. And it's, like if you
does.
have uneven eyes, like one smaller eye, one larger,
Correct.
it just lifts. I don't know how it works, but it's
Correct.
crazy.
Correct.
And it wears off. How long does that usually last? You would put it in your eyes in the morning because that's
Yeah.
when my eyes are the droopiest. And then you
Yeah.
could just notice during the day if
During
you
the day.
saw that it was
And it
wearing
just
off. You had a
wears off
special
at
night.
night.
Yeah. So you can start fresh every day. If you looked at it and said, "Yikes, I look scary," which I don't want to do that again, then you would.
No, it's very beautiful. And again, if you have a little bit of an eyelid drop, a droopy side, it really can just boost that up. And symmetry is beauty.
That's right. That's
Symmetry
right.
is beauty.
Yeah, it really is. So I will include links if you're like, oh gosh, I got to write this all down. If you'll just scroll down under where you're listening, there will be links to more information about these things that you can read for yourself and decide for yourself. And again, this is just what's out there. We're not recommending you do any of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're happy with yourself, great for you.
Fillers are a wonderful thing. They lift and support the skin. As we age, we get saggy skin. So, again, a soft lifting in the cheeks. Also, the corners of the mouth. Everyone needs a little support around there. We also do threads that are fantastic at lifting. Microneedling. You can also use the PRP, which is the platelet-rich plasma. That's where we draw your own blood and we get your little, I call it the golden serum.
Yeah.
We put that on the face. You can also use PRP for if you have a little hairline that's receding or you're losing a little bit of hair. It's also a great product.
Yeah. So what to do? She does. I have this done. She puts the PRP on your face. It looks like face serum that you would buy. It has that same consistency. Puts it on, and then you use a microneedling to push it into the pores.
Correct. Push it into the skin.
And then the needles also help promote collagen, right? So
That
you're
is
actually
correct.
feeling it. So the fillers, there's a lot of different brands of fillers that are to be used in different parts of
Correct.
the face for different reasons. But if you don't want to go the facelift route, then the fillers, just a little bit of filler in your cheek can lift your jowls. It's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Yes.
Filling out the temples. My temples came very caved in, and I didn't even realize that. Why do I look so old up my upper face? And it was you need a little filler in your temples, and that was incredible, the difference. That also seemed to pull my eyes back and tighten my eyes too.
Absolutely. It's amazing what we
It
can
is.
do.
It's magical.
And it's fun too.
It is fun. Now Botox is going to last you like 3 months generally. Depends on the
about
person.
3 months, and if you have pretty strong muscles, sometimes 2.5, something
Yeah.
like that. But on average, yes, 3.
And then fillers vary. The length that they last vary by the product itself. Some are made to last longer than others.
Correct.
Like
yes.
the least is what, less than a year, around a year, or
less than a year, and then up to 2 years, and then we also do one that is a 5-year filler, Bella.
oh wow,
Yeah.
So you would want to know that. Probably use another kind first to make sure you're happy with.
Oh, absolutely. We wade in very slow. I'm very conservative with my people, at least. But if I'm encouraging people to do something, yes, find your injector that you're comfortable with, that has a good reputation, has a good education, and then also check out their website, with their reviews from people. That tells you a lot. And then again, if the standard price, and then you hear of a really smashing deal right down the road, well, good luck with that, because again, be careful. There are places or things out there. It's your face that we're working on. It is not the bottom of your feet.
Yeah, there you go.
And so you really have to think about that is your face that will always present to people. So it's a very personal experience and decision to decide to even walk into an anti-aging place, just like you did all those years ago. I applaud you for doing that, because way back when, getting Botox was not as popular and accepted as it is today.
Yeah.
So way back when, a lot of people got it, they just didn't tell anybody.
Exactly.
I used to have women have big old hats that they wear inside, and so nobody would see them and recognize them, maybe from church or wherever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think that the anti-aging industry has grown so much that you're bombarded, if you will, with so much information, and it's hard for a layperson to know what they need and where they need it and how often they need it. But
and they don't know. If you go to somebody new, they don't know what's already in your face.
Correct.
Which can make a big difference. You might want to lie about it and say, well, no, I've never done this before, or no, I don't have that, and that can really...
That can cause problems. Being completely upfront with, what you've done, what you've had, those type of things can really cause a problem for an injector if you don't tell them the truth.
Yeah. What about the neck? That's what I'm unhappy with right now. I need to address.
Back to the neck.
And then we're done with the whole thing.
Again, same thing. You can do a microneedling to help with the skin integrity. We use radio frequency for that to help with, again, down at the cellular level. You can also do a filler and threads in the neck area.
Yeah, and threads, I don't think we described just briefly what is a thread.
So a thread, it is the same thing that they would use if they were to go in and do surgery inside of you. It is an actual surgical thread. They have different lengths, also different widths, and we have different sizes for different places on the face. When you put the thread in, it goes obviously into the plane of the skin where I'm trying to lift and support, and they can be as like an inch or two long, or they can be like up to 4 inches and even longer. So it's hard to describe what an actual thread is until you honestly see it in the office.
Yeah. I've had that done too. And
it's a little thread.
Yeah, you put it like
Sterile
you would put
thread.
it on my jawline and lift up to my temple even, and then you
Almost.
pull it up. It's
Right.
almost like a little marionette. You're pulling the face up and down.
And so that
And it's this unusual feeling, but it's
not
very effective.
painful.
No, it's not. You would think putting a thread through your face would be like, like torture. But I was like, once you were in there, I mean, you can feel, if you think about what it is, it feels a little creepy, but it's not pain. It's like,
Yeah.
I can feel you moving
just
my
feel-
face, like,
feel
you're
you moving
smiling,
my
you're
face
smiling. Smile, frown, smile, frown. And then you just tie it off, I guess, and then it's,
Turn up.
yeah. And I was able to go do something
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
I had like 2 little entry holes, and just
Exactly.
a little scab
Yeah.
down there. But that's incredible. That so I could see
That's
where
a
that would help
very-
with tightening the neck.
It's a very exciting technology that has just, come onto the surface in the last several years, but very effective.
What would be red flags, like if you went to first time you went to a anti-aging spa, that you would look for? I would imagine if a nurse injector tells you, we can make you look like you did when you were 20 if you're 70, that's not true. It's not going to happen.
That is not going to happen.
If they try to push other procedures on you when you've come for one, rather than say,
Correct.
if you ask them, what else do you think I could do in the future?
Understand.
Not upselling you, like, it's...
Right. So I can't speak for other people, but how I do it when someone new comes to me, say for Botox, I look at her face, and I feel it's my responsibility as her injector to tell her things that when she looks at her face, she just knows she don't like it. When I look at her face, I think filler here, a thread here, some microneedling, and skincare obviously is a big thing.
Right.
You have to help me help you on a daily basis by washing your face and doing all the things we do. But if someone is pushy, I just like to give information. I'll say, and again, I'd say it gently, and so you don't hurt somebody's feelings, but at the same time, we need to correct this asymmetry right here. This would look really better on you. And lay out almost a beauty plan, if you will, so that in the future, in the next 3 months, we know what to expect budget-wise.
Right.
And I just like to do that for the whole year, so that my girls call it DiAnna dollars. And when they have an extra $50 or $75, they're going to go spend on something that doesn't serve them well. Meaning, don't throw your money away. When you learn the wisdom of money and what it brings to you and your choices of where you spend that money, make wise choices. And if that's not a good one, then put it in your DiAnna dollars or whatever
right.
you want to call it. And then by the time it's time to do your Botox again, then you have it already budgeted out. You go to your little piggy bank and you call your injector and you go get your Botox or whatever.
Absolutely. You think about just what you throw away on Starbucks coffee.
Absolutely.
Or another pair of jeans or another pair of shoes to stick somewhere in your room where if you put that aside, you could really change your attitude about yourself and how other people see you. I mean, it's just...
And, again, just make sure that the cost, I always, before I ever touch a patient, we go over what they need and the cost right there up front. So that is an important piece, because I've heard horror stories from other people that have came to me that have had bad experiences and got up to the thing, and it was, a lot of money, and they weren't expecting that. So that put them in a very difficult position, and I never would want to do that, and I hope that other places would not want to do that as well.
Yeah. I think I've drained your brain today, and I just want to say, for those listening, if you have any questions on this topic, you can contact me through our website. Go there. There's an email. There's a voicemail. If you want to ask your question on voicemail, we're on all the social media. You can find all that on our website, which is denaandtia.com. And I'll get with DiAnna, and she can give me, she can personally answer you on our podcast, or she can just tell me what to say back to you to contact you.
It's been fun, y'all.
Yeah, it's been fun. And I really, really appreciate you being here. So I'm not talking to myself, which is kind of weird. So I have someone to talk to. And you did a great job. And I appreciate all that vast knowledge that you shared and the inspiration that you shared. And I hope I can get you to come back another time.
I think it's a deal.
Love you, girl.
I love you too.
Love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
We would love to hear from you.
Leave your questions or comments on our voicemail by visiting our website at denaandtia.com. Your message may be played on the show.
You can find our Instagram and Facebook links there too.
Again, that's denaandtia.com.
Thanks for listening.